Purity Educational and Media present the Purity Series every Tuesday. Welcome to the Purity Series.
Welcome to another episode of Purity Series. Alright, so what we'll be looking at this week is steadfastness and commitment to God. So what is steadfastness? Steadfastness means doing something continually, means being consistent. While commitment is God's response to your steadfastness. Commitment is a response from God. So commitment is God's response to your steadfastness. While commitment being about God asking you to do some things and you yielding to it. You even have to balance it before you can be able to get response from God, because commitment is actually God's response to your steadfastness. So before you can get a response from God, you have to have a balanced relationship with God. You have to hear from Him, because you can't hear from someone that you don't have a relationship with. You can't get instruction. You can't even yield to someone that you don't have a relationship with. So before you can be committed, you have to have a balanced relationship with God. So commitment being about God telling you what God will have you do. Commitment to being about God giving you instructions. You being committed that you always do what God will ask you to do every time and every season. And one of the things that God will ask us to do as His child, what we have to also do is that we've been committed to living a life of holiness. And living a life of holiness means being committed to God alone, means being separated just for God alone. And for you to be able to be separated to God alone, you have to be steadfast in Him. You have to be steadfast. You have to be rooted in your relationship with Him. Because when you are rooted in your relationship with Him, that's when you'll be able to know what we have you do per time and per season. That's what you will know what we have you do, because commitment, as I have said earlier, commitment is His response to your steadfast. And being steadfast means you doing something consistently and continually. So you need to know what we have you do consistently. You need to know what we have you do continually. And one of the things we have you do consistently and continually means you living a life of holiness, being committed just to God alone, being separated just to God alone. And I will also say that your relationship with God is going to work in hand with you being steadfast and committed to God. When you have a relationship with God, it's going to help you to be steadfast, and it's going to help you to be rooted in you staying and living the life of holiness. So as Christians, God is expecting us to live a life of holiness. We've been committed to Him. When others, like there's a phrase that said, others may, but I will not. You won't compromise even in the place of temptation, even in the place of where others are following trends. Others may do it. You may be in a land that many people are doing that thing. You know it is against what God will have you do. You know it is against what God will have you being committed to. You are not going to do it because you are His child. And when you are steadfast, you know what He wants you to do per time and per season. So you won't do it when it's not what God will have you do. When others are following trend, when others are compromising, you won't compromise, because you know that is what He will have you do. And also, when you stay steadfast, you find it easy to stay committed in purity. You will see sin as what is like a blemish to you. So you want to do it because you are steadfast in God. So as a Christian, one thing that is expected from you is that you living a life of holiness. You living a life of holiness and staying pure. Being committed to living a life of holiness and purity. And committed means you being devoted and consistent, just as I have mentioned earlier. So when you are devoted, when you are committed, you are devoted to living a life of purity. As a child of God, you have to stay steadfast and committed to God in living a life of holiness and purity. Thank you so much for watching this week Purity series. Make sure you like, comment, and share. Thank you.
Thank you for joining the Purity Series. See you next Tuesday.